Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the InDev podcast. I'm your host Jack Edwards, and with me tonight, as always, are my fellow co-hosts Sam Asher.
Hello.
And Adnan Al-Gindi.
Hello.
Also with me tonight are my very special guest, Aaron.
Hello from me.
And Raid.
Hello.
So today we're going to be changing the format of the show a little bit. So in the past we've focused more on gaming news. We are still going to have elements of gaming news, but we're going to have a lot more open floor discussion topics, and we're going to create a separate show for that gaming news stuff. So today in this show we're going to be covering the future of eSports from some actual pro Dota MLG casters. We're going to be discussing how the next generation of RPGs will be like Skyrim but evolved. We're going to be discussing SOE's launch of an all-access subscription and what that means for the various games affected. We're going to be discussing Unreal Engine 4 support for SteamOS and Linux, as well as some new features added to ESO, and of course the big hitter story this week, the fact that Euro Truck Simulator 2 multiplayer mod has been released.
And half of it has been confirmed, that's not a big deal.
Yeah, okay, thanks Anna. If you enjoy this and you'd like to see more, make sure to like and subscribe to the Webdevs YouTube channel. We're going to have a lot more videos coming your way over the next few weeks, like this, the InDev podcast, and of course that new gaming news show I've already talked about. Also check out Webdevs.co for all the latest gaming info and general news. A link for it will be left in the description below. Ray's review of Space Engineers and Sam's review of Tactical Intervention, which he really enjoyed.
Amazing game.
Yeah, has gone up on there just recently, and I'd highly recommend those checking those two out. Okay, let's jump right into this then. So, for the first section, I'm going to hand over to my co-host Sam, who's going to talk about some eSports stuff. Over to you, Sam.
Well, for those of you who don't follow the Dota 2 scene, the International is coming up, which has a predicted first prize of at least $2 million, and the teams have finally been announced by Valve. So, I'll tell you the invited teams. I won't go over all the qualifiers because that would take a bit too long. So, Alliance 2013 champions, Titan, Evil Geniuses, Fnatic, Newbie, Vici, Na'Vi, 2011 champions, DK, IG, the 2012 champions, Cloud9 and Empire all got their direct invites. The qualifier system's a little bit different this year for those of you who do follow the scene but haven't realised this. So the qualifier isn't just the West and the East now, it's Americas, Southeast Asia, China and Europe. So, now that we've got that out of the way, so $2 million is predicted what the prize pool will be, just what will be injected by Valve. But it's in Dota 2, it's actually massively crowdfunded now. So if you buy a ticket to the tournament, you can boost the overall prize pool. So for example, ESL 1, the prize pool has already been boosted by $10,000 just by people buying tickets to watch it in the Dota 2 client. The highest earning player of all time has made well over $500,000, which is 52 million won, where he comes from in South Korea. And overall, esports is gradually turning into something where there's a lot of money available for anybody to earn just for playing video games. So, what do you guys think about that? Clearly, we're just going to go on the assumption that esports are sports and not delve into that too much. But do you think esports are going to continue to grow like this, or do you think that it's going to flatline sooner or later? Go to Aaron first. Aaron cast.
It's not going to flatline.
Aaron cast some professional Dota 2 games with me.
Actually, I casted professional games without you. I casted amateur games with
the
you.
professional game that you casted was without me, but we can just skip over that and just imagine that I was there.
Yes. Esports is far from going to flatline. It's only going to grow bigger as prize pools increase. That is that simple.
All right. Anybody disagree with that?
One thing I want to say was, if in terms of like are esports going to continue growing? Well, recently it's been announced that at the X Games, which is for ESPN's X Games, which is like some extreme sports thing with skateboarding, BMXing, and whatnot. They also announced that a bunch of pro gamers will be competing for medals in the X Game, playing Call of Duty Ghosts, in Austin this June. Although it's it's called Ghosts, whatever. It still shows that esports has potential to get bigger, and it already is starting to be in big competitions that they're in the same league as people that are professional extreme sportists and stuff.
Yeah,
sportists.
also in regards to ESPN, they're going to broadcast the highlights of MLG matches on there. I can't remember which one it was, but they're going to broadcast like the top 10 moments onto ESPN, which is like national American TV, which I think is pretty big for esports as a whole.
You can get it in the UK as well.
Can you?
Yes.
Oh, I thought the ESPN for the UK and the US was separate, aren't they?
I thought they were the same.
Oh, right, maybe they are.
Okay. No, I think they have one of the channels that aren't. But
international TV, then you can watch it internationally on the TV, which is pretty cool, I think. You know, for esports, which is generally seen as more of a nerdy kind of, location. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A nerd type of TV to watch. I think if it's starting to become more mainstream, and we can see that if ESPN, people like that are picking it up, then yeah. One thing I would like to say about esports is that I think, with the trend of esports and how rapid it's grown in like the past year, I don't think we're going to see that growth the next couple of years. And there's kind of a few reasons for that. Is that I think a lot of the gaming community now know what esports are, whereas maybe if you've gone back a few years, a lot of the gaming community wouldn't have known. I think whilst we are going to get growth from outside of the gaming community, like just Joe Blogs, who likes watching football now, also likes watching Dota, I don't think we're going to get that much. I think it's probably going to be a bit like indie games, is where indie games have seen a massive boon over the past couple of years in terms of their sales figures. Minecraft is obviously an example of that. And Minecraft really kicked it all off, and with this we have Dota that's kind of really kicked it all off. As Dota loses relevance over the next few years, or the next 10 years.
Try next, century.
So, okay, whatever, Dota fanboy. I think as the game gets older and the allure of it starts wearing off, I think we are going to see esports not decline by any means, but I think we're going to see kind of a peter to that growth. There are only so many people in the world that will want to sit down and watch a Dota game, and I think we've got so many people there now. Whilst we are going to see a lot of growth in the next few years, that's not going to be as big as we've seen in the past year. What do you think about that, Sam?
Well, apart from disagreeing with your point that Dota's going to lose relevance, I see what you mean. I see what you mean, that now that esports is growing so big that basically all of the gaming community is aware of it, that it's not going to go ahead with quite as much steam as it has been, but I do think it is going to carry on growing with quite some speed. All it needs to do is break into the mainstream media like it seems to be doing with ESPN. And I think it can be really big. Clearly, we're based in the UK, so we don't see how big it is in other countries, because in the UK, esports really isn't that big at all. But so I'm not full. I don't really know how big it is in other countries, but I think it can pick up a lot of steam globally. Like, clearly, when we say picking up a lot of steam globally, we're not talking about Southeast Asia or China, where the people there, where esports there is, a national sport. We're talking about America, Central Europe, where video games are huge, but the esports hasn't picked up enough yet.
Raid, have you got anything to say on that?
Unlike Sam and Aaron, I'm not. I don't really play MLG or professional very much, at all. But what I will say is, I didn't really watch or hadn't really heard of like Twitch, the whole streaming thing, until pretty much last year, a couple of years ago. And since then, I myself have been watching a lot more. I think a lot of other people have been watching a lot more. But what I've also found is, I think what might happen is, as it gets more famous, I think it's going to become more and more exclusive, and you can find that less normal people end up streaming. It'll just become sort of just the very finest people streaming, and just not like you said, Joel Bloggs off the street.
So you think that esports is going to come to a point, or Twitch is going to come to a point where the little guy's not being able to get his foot in the door because it's going to be so big that...
But
yeah,
I think that's true of any sport, really.
You see that with things like YouTube, right? That's all comparison, but YouTube right now, in the beginning it was anybody who had a camera or whatever, and now it's like, if you can't enter YouTube like you could like 3 years ago, like the competition you have right now is so high level. Like, people hate PewDiePie anyway, like a lot anyway, but the amount of editing and the skill of his editing is really, really good, and the quality of the videos are really good. Eventually, Twitch is going to be like, not anybody can just have a low-class stream with 360 pixels. You're going to have a really good stream, and only a few of the guys that are fun to watch because they're really good and have good quality good quality streams and everything, and to make it actually good to watch. Otherwise, people won't watch anymore.
I think there's still something to be said though for the small guy on YouTube, people that do upload in 1080p, people that do put out good quality content. They're not necessarily
InDevs.
Yeah, exactly. Like us.
But exactly. But you can't just enter, like, you can't. The random guy does not have a 1080p. You can't just render in 1080p off just randomly. It's not as common. You usually see most of the guys on YouTube being like people that have a really good PC and they have good editing software for their videos and stuff. It takes effort and time.
Yes, it's true. You don't see many small people getting popular very quickly, or even at all in some cases, even if the content's very good. Because if you click on something and it's 360p and the editing's a bit dodgy, realistically, people just click off straight away. And I know we're wandering a very, very long way away from eSports.
Yeah, we are, aren't we? We do this with every subject, though, don't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. Us staying on topic is
anyway, so let's just quick segue. Disney, on the other hand.
Let's talk about a Frozen MOBA, shall we?
I would pay to play that.
I wouldn't.
Absolutely,
sound like paying is the thing.
A Disney MOBA I would play.
The question is not whether you would pay to play. The question is how much you would pay to play.
£15.
50 to £60.
£100.
0 pence.
A Disney MOBA would be amazing. Everyone knows it.
Well, Disney Infinity. I mean, that wasn't great.
It's not a MOBA though, is it? And Disney Infinity is
eSports.
amazing. Don't hate.
Well.
So eSports. So we've spoken a little bit about the future of eSports in terms of the growth in the international community. I think one of the things that we should at least briefly cover, even though it will inevitably not be brief, is women in eSports. And for those of you who do follow the eSports scene, I'm sure you'll know that really there aren't a lot of women in eSports, which is mainly down to the fact that in history, video games have been seen as a very male thing and not a very female thing. What that has meant is that not a lot of professional gamers are women, and it's led to women-only leagues, which a lot of people are saying is sexist because in video games there's no physical boundaries to separate people. So I think we'll go to Aaron first again. What do you think about women in esports?
The same thing as everyone else in esports. It should be allowed, really. It's and should be more common. I think people make a bigger deal about it than what it actually is. I think that it's that simple.
But I have a question then, because you say it shouldn't be a big deal and it should be, there shouldn't be a big deal about it.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you actually mean by that? Do you want there to be different
people single out women in esports and women in all sports more than it should be. People single out the other gender in sports more than they should be. They make a huge deal out of the other gender in sports when it shouldn't be.
So would you like to see like only girl teams or mixed or just anything?
I wouldn't mind seeing only girl teams, but I don't think people should be making a big deal when there are only girl teams like they are.
Should they have their own tournaments or should they be...
They can have their own tournaments, but people should make a big deal. Like recently, there's like entire blow up on Reddit over this. For Dota, there was people were complaining at women only tournament, I believe, and it was people make a big deal out of it than it needs to be, in my opinion.
All right.
Don't you think, in regards to other sports though, don't you think that sometimes women, a division between men and women can actually be a good thing for fairity, because women,
I can confirm.
Women and men, say what you like, if you're a radical feminist, I don't care, but women have different builds to men, or the majority of women have different builds to men, okay? That I would say the majority of men, technically they're more muscularly able, they've got, they're generally stronger. Women, they're generally more intelligent, I would think, and I think for other sports there is that necessary to make that divide in terms of sporting.
Let's just get one particular one example. Let's say mixed martial arts, where come on, it's literally cage fighting essentially. Right now there is like a woman's part of it and there is a man's one. But if that one was, I mean, this is a sport where the size difference, the strength difference is really important. That they have different weight divisions, you know, like every 10 pounds or so often. So if right now if they're having different groups and tournaments for people that are, you know, 5 kilograms heavier than each other, and that seen as unfair if those two were to fight. Imagine how unfair would it be if some 200-pound guy was up against some random girl that was like nowhere near as strong. It's completely unfair, and it's very clear in certain sports that there should be a difference between the two.
But are you saying that shouldn't be the same in esports then?
Well, I'm just backing up Jack's point that sometimes it is justified, and you know when you say people make a big deal about women being separate, or they make it a big deal, sometimes it's actually justified.
I'm not saying it's not justified. I'm saying that people make a bigger deal about it than it needs to be.
I guess yeah. If you're gonna put it like that, then I suppose that is true. But with esports, I don't think we really need to have that divide. I think gradually that divide's going to wear out over time. You know, we're going to get to a point where men and women. I mean, sexism is already disappearing. It's kind of becoming a non-issue nowadays. I think. Well, I'd like to think anyway. And I think as we push esports forward onto national and international TV, we're going to start seeing those divides gradually, those lines in the sand gradually being washed away. I think, and it's going to become a lot. I think it's going to become a lot more gender neutral. And I think I'd just like to ask you guys this: do you think esports could therefore be a leader in gender equality in sports? Do you think?
I don't think you'll ever have gender equality in sports, as you were saying. So because it is necessary in physical sports, I don't think gender equality in sports, apart from esports, is even ever going to be possible. To be honest.
Okay, well, I'm talking about like I guess I'm talking about the prize funds in sports.
Oh right.
Sorry, I didn't make that clear. Yeah, the prize funds. If you don't know the prize funds for stuff like Wimbledon, that's one of the big tennis grand slams in England. And the women actually get less than the men do get paid. Do you think we're going to gradually start do you think we could be seeing esports as a leader in that field of gender equality in terms of sports? Speak now for the whole piece.
Well, okay. First of all, I don't think that. First of all, just that Grand Slam thing. I don't think it's as simple as the women get paid less than men instantly. It's some gender inequality. I think the amount of money people get for sports always reflects the amount of people watching.
Yeah.
So just because the women get less doesn't mean they're just being biased. It means there are less people in the league for women. It means that that not as many people are watching the women matches, like, you know, Serena Williams, I don't know the names, whatever, as much as people are watching, you know, Andy Murray and stuff. It just means that more people are watching the men. And when you consider that sports on TV and the reason why they get paid is because of entertainment, then you understand it's not actually gender inequality in terms of prize pools usually. And the same can be said for gaming, where, you know, some people may say excessive that some guy playing a video game earns like £1 million or something. But on the other hand, it's just reflecting how many people are watching. The same can be said for footballers, and people say they get too much. It's just reflecting how people watching.
I think tennis is certainly the point that you raised there. I would actually say that tennis is probably one of the sports where a lot of people, about the same amount of people, watch the women as they do the men, because the women in tennis are about as famous as the men are, I'd say at least. People like Serena Williams and Maria Sharapova are extremely famous in their countries. They are extremely famous internationally, whether or not you've heard of them or not, besides the point. But I think I think that certainly with tennis, and I think we'll gradually start to see this with esports more, that I would say there are almost similar viewing figures for both finals, the men's and the women's. And the question was, do you think esports could be a leader in this field to get rid of, to have, if we did have to have gender split esports groups? Do you think esports could be a leader in that we're going to pay them both the same, or do you think there's still going to have to be that divide there?
Well, I think it could be, because it's like the only reason I can think why internet would be why the gaming community would be the leaders on like something like this and not like an actual like feminist group or something. It might be simply because if the gaming community manages to be all come on the internet and try and get protests through the internet. I don't know, with all the petitions that are going on the internet now. Simply by using the voice of the internet, I think they might be able to be the leading figure in doing something like that. But I still find it to be quite unlikely.
Okay, so we're now going to move on to our next section, the next generation of RPGs. So if you have your ear to the ground on the internet, you've been looking at Reddit over the past week, or YouTube, or some famous YouTube content creators like Angry Joe or Force Strategy Gaming, you'll know that Destiny, Dragon Age Inquisition, and Watch Dogs, 3 RPGs being released over the course of this year and next. No, they're all slated for this year. Have released brand new trailers. So these trailers will be looping in the background. And we're just going to discuss them, what we think about the next generation of RPGs, the graphics, the gameplay mechanics, a seamless multiplayer integration. So first, I'm going to chuck this over to Adnan. Adnan, which of these games are you most looking forward to, and why?
Well, okay. Not looking forward to Destiny that much. I just don't really seem to be satisfying gameplay. I think Watch Dogs has kind of worn off from the... It was a big deal just before the consoles dropped, and so everyone's like, "Yo, I'm gonna get a PS4. What are you gonna get in it? I'm gonna get Watch Dogs." Then it got delayed, and it came out. Release date was never, and now it's coming out. What time's it coming out this year?
May the 29th.
May 29th. I think they haven't got enough support. They don't have as big support as they do now as they had back then, and people aren't excited anymore.
What are the dates for E3 this year?
I
don't know.
Early
something
June,
in June.
I think.
Yeah.
Early June. It's a pre-E3 release.
Yep.
And so I don't think Watch Dogs are. So I don't think Watch Dogs is big on my list either. But Dragon Age, I haven't actually been much of a Dragon Age fan. Haven't been following this game. But considering it's on the InDev podcast, I think I might check it out, and I might actually have a look at it. And it's literally right now it's number 1 on my list simply for the fact that it's the only one that I don't think is going to be that bad.
Guys, just the dates for E3 are June 10th to 12th.
Yep.
June 10th. Oh, it's like my birthday time.
Alright.
Woohoo. Sam, what do you think? Which is your favourite game from this list?
Well, unfortunately, from the list, I don't actually like the look of any of them. I think Watch Dogs, a lot of the role-playing element they had, they got rid of with a few announcements about the how they made it a lot like Grand Theft Auto. Destiny, it's not releasing on PC, so I don't care. Dragon Age Inquisition, as Adnan said, he's never been a Dragon Age fan, and nor have I really. And I know it hasn't dropped a big trailer recently, but if you want to know the next gen RPG that I'm waiting for, it's The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
And I felt this deserved it.
We're gonna have a little chat about The Witcher 3 after E3, I think.
No, we're gonna start now.
I think they're gonna be I've got a sneaking suspicion they're gonna release some cool footage from E3, and yeah, Witcher 3's high.
They've released some gameplay recently, haven't they? Just they had a really quick gameplay trailer, but everything about The Witcher 3 looks absolutely immense. The graphical fidelity is second to none at the moment. 36 endings is amazing, and it's concluding a series which has just been so good. I really cannot wait for that.
How
game.
good?
Just so good.
So good.
And
not simply so good. So
next to, or at least on par with The Elder Scrolls, it is my favorite RPG series ever made, ever.
Okay. Raid, chuck this over to you. What one are you most looking forward to?
Out of the games on that list, Dragon Age, like Adnan, played a bit of Dragon Age 2, didn't really get into it. So, and the other Destiny, like Sam, it's not on PC, so I don't care because I don't own any next-gen consoles. Watch Dogs was one I was really looking forward to, but again, like Sam said, when they sort of lost all that momentum when it disappeared, and now that it's back, it's sort of lost all that momentum it's had, and it's sort of relying on people who wanted it then and now want to play it.
Well, yeah, the momentum's been carrying since like E3 2012, hasn't it?
Yeah, but they managed to get rid of all of it when it disappeared. So, but I probably will get it, but I don't know how they're gonna deal with the fact that they're releasing at such an odd time to release a game.
Well, I think if you're talking about pre-3, look at The Last of Us, like supposedly one of the best games of last year, released pre-3, and
to be fair, it didn't take much to be the best game of last year.
No, but I still think The Last of Us...
It was a great game.
Well, Sam, you used the game called Ghost. Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
That is true. Beating COD Ghost takes something.
Next gen dog. Come on, guys. Okay, so we'll go on to mine, then we'll go on to Aaron's. So my most anticipated game out of that list is actually Dragon Age Inquisition. Now, I have been following this game purely for the fact that it is being made on the Frostbite 3 engine, okay? And I know that's a pretty shallow reason to follow a game, but this game looks sexy, okay? This game looks gorgeous, and I know The Witcher 3 looks nice, don't get me wrong, I know that looks gorgeous, but Dragon Age Inquisition looks phenomenal. I think it quite literally blows The Witcher 3 out of the water with how good it looks. There was a 30-minute leaked gameplay footage bit that I found on the internet, and that was just for a little camcorder by someone's lap, just looking at it, and oh my goodness, the shaders, unreal. Like, if you think BF4 went over the top with shaders, oh no, sorry, not BF4, Need for Speed. What was the new Need for Speed game called?
Don't remember.
Need for Speed, no one cares
Rivals?
anymore. Rivals, that's it.
Yeah, Rivals.
Need for Speed Rivals. If you thought the shaders on that were bonkers, you should see the shaders on this. My goodness. Like, I don't even necessarily think the textures are that good. It's just the fact that there's so many freaking shaders in your face, you can't see anything. There's dynamic world changes, there's destructible environments, because of Frostbite 3.
Fire swords. Lots of fire swords.
Sorry?
They have fiery swords.
They have fiery swords, they have dragons, they've got... Basically, there's this really cool mechanic in there where you can take forts around the world. Okay, so if you take this fort, you can then choose what to specialize in. So you can specialize in trade, in soldiers. So you can have like a barracks or something, which is really cool. And then that, however you change that fort, will dynamically change the world around it. So this guy went up to a fort, he took over the fort, and then he walked up the fort. There was some toxic gas outside that was preventing him from going further on in the zone he was in, or in the world. So he went into the fort, he took the fort, he then installed a military installation there. They then went and cleared out the toxic gas. I don't know how, but they did. And then he was able to walk through. There was a dragon swoop down, it destroyed some old ruins, the camera was shaking. It was really, really, really cool, and I cannot wait to get this on my R9 290 and just whack it up to max settings and just have eye candy, because this game just looks so nice, unreal. And it's the best thing about it is it's Frostbite 3, but it's not online, so you don't have to worry about any of that crap netcode anymore, like we saw with BF4. So yeah, that's my favourite game on there, quite obviously, as you can see. I'm also really looking forward to Watch Dogs. I'm definitely going to be getting that. Whether I get it on release day is a bit up in the air.
So wait, Jack, you say you want to get Watch Dogs. Is there any particular reason, like, did you... If I asked you if you're going to get Watch Dogs like 5 months ago, would you be much more enthusiastic than you are now about the game?
No. In fact, when Watch Dogs was releasing, I was really honestly not interested about it, okay? I saw the other day the trailer they'd put out, and this was about the seamless multiplayer integration.
Yeah. The one where they show off the 3 different types of multiplayer.
The 3 different types of multiplayer. So basically, there's one where you can have a tablet and you can control the inside world. I know that's fairly ridiculous and stupid, but I have a tablet. I don't have anything to play on it. Having Watch Dogs on my iPad would be pretty cool. There's also there's a hacker mode where you can hack into someone else's game and they seamlessly join your game. There's no loading screen or anything. They seamlessly join your game, and then you can run about in their world, hack them. You've got to run away. You can hack stuff to stop them from chasing you. It's honestly really, really cool. And then there's a third one where you have to pick up a bit of intel and then hack it. And then you have to kind of travel around the city, and then having epic car chases around the city to try and hack this intel. Honestly, looks really cool. The multiplayer for that game surprisingly has sold me on it, seeing as a single player game, because I think what they're doing with it looks really cool. And Nvidia also released a trailer showing that the game looked really, really nice, so I'm buying it for the graphics.
So
as well. Call me Shadow if you want.
This game isn't like it doesn't have weapons and guns and stuff like that, does it?
No, it
it's
does
supposed-
have guns. It's got guns, but it's not like in the traditional sense where it's all about weapons. Your main weapon should be hacking.
All right. And other question is, this game is kind of a bit of a segue. It's having an iPad kind of thing, right? A kind of application.
Mhm.
And I think just bringing attention to iPad is recently Hearthstone released an iPad. And I think that is the first game I can think of that's went from PC to iPad and is really, really good at it.
Mhm.
I think does anyone here actually have a Hearthstone iPad?
I don't know.
But I think like that is like the first. Like I can't think of any other game that has been popular on PC and has done a good transition onto iPad like that. I mean, it perhaps
Actually, I think Deus Ex, when they released the mobile version of their game, I think that did pretty well.
Well, it wasn't very good though. It
okay.
really wasn't very good. The Deus Ex mobile game.
All right, but I'm just saying, like, it kind of shows that maybe, just maybe, iPads can be good. You know, not like freaking. What was the good old Battlefield app they were having?
Battlefield
Lord.
Commander. No, please.
Yeah. Nothing as gimmicky and terrible as that again.
Aaron,
alright.
have you got a favourite game from this list?
Despite of every pain against me, it has to be Dragon Age.
Dragon Age.
Every pain about EA is being thrown out the window because I love BioWare and what they do. And I have a feeling that it's been run on Frostbite, and we know what Frostbite can do. We all have seen what Frostbite can do, but we've never seen it do it to its best yet. We've seen it do it very good, but I feel with Dragon Age Inquisition, it is just going to blow every other game this year out of the water. There is no game that can stand up to it. And that's coming from someone who hated Dragon Age 2 and loved Dragon Age 1. I have a feeling like this is just going to blow all of them away, and it's going to be my game of the year.
Wow.
And yeah, it's going to be my game of the year.
I think now The Witcher 3 has gone, it's probably going to be mine as well.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at gameplay right now. It's
Yeah, I know. It looks.
it's like some freaking dash cam guy with like a mobile phone, like just really bad quality of
I
filming,
know.
but the game still looks amazing.
It does, doesn't it? Have you got to the bit where the dragon smashes the old ruins
I did
yet?
see it.
Yeah, how
but then
cool
it
is
cuts
that?
off.
Like, if that was in Skyrim, okay, if Bethesda had bothered to put it on DX11 and had got just a slightly better engine, I don't know why we couldn't have had dragon fights that looked even half as good as that does, and we've only seen 2 seconds of it, for goodness sake. I mean,
Mind you,
that-
as another game that I really am looking forward to this year, which is of course Evolve, which I think has anyone else seen gameplay of that now?
mhm.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Evolve, I think, next week when we talk about the next generation of FPS and some asymmetrical multiplayer, I think, because that's what I also quite like about Watch Dogs is its asymmetrical multiplayer modes. So what I mean by asymmetrical multiplayer is that you're not playing like
It's not equal.
in Call of Duty.
both the exact
Everything
same.
is balanced in quotation marks. Okay, you're in either team. Everything works the exact same. You either spawn on the other side of the map, whatever. But with Watch Dogs that they're doing with the iPad, that's asymmetrical multiplayer where he's having a different experience, a directly different experience to what you're experiencing. To a certain extent, that's what's happening with the hacking, where you can hack in someone else's game. I really like that, and I think if there's anyone that needs to push the RPG genre into multiplayer like that, then Ubisoft should do it. And if they do it well, then Bethesda takes some tips, because I'm on there in Elder Scrolls 6.
So really quickly, I think you want to clear up exactly what asymmetrical means. It's just multiplayer where both teams aren't the same. Where one team may have maybe at a disadvantage or something like that. In like Call of Duty, like if it's like team deathmatch, both of you can kill each other. There's no like disadvantage or advantage. In an asymmetrical multiplayer, like in Evolve, where one team is a monster and is much more powerful, and one team has more people, there are massive differences between the two sides. So it's not symmetrical.
Another, just quickly, this is my final thing on Dragon Age Inquisition, if you skip to 18:10 of that video, this will be in the video in the show now. You'll be able to see something called the tactical camera view. Okay, now this is really cool. Okay, apparently this is in the original Dragon Age. I've never played it myself, but basically you can tag enemies. You have three like squad mates, if you will, people in your Inquisition, and you can tag them to do their different abilities on different characters, and this can be real time. So you yourself can hover over the battlefield and select targets or select buffs or heals that you want your group to, that you want the rest of your Inquisition to lay down for you, and they will do it. But you can also do it as in a precursor stage. So right here they've paused the game and he's putting frost traps on the ground, and he's just sped it up, and they're walking over the frost trap. Oh wait, he just got frozen by the frost trap. This sort of stuff really excites me, because as kind of an RPG noob, if you will, the only real games I've played that are RPGs are kind of Mass Effect and Skyrim, and I've played and Oblivion, of course. But I played the living hell out of those games. Like, I really have, and that's why I'm so looking forward to Dragon Age Inquisition, because I'm looking at it as one of my first like proper real tactical RPGs that I can sink my teeth into, and it looks phenomenal.
Hearing you mention Mass Effect and watching that tactical tag thing, it brings back memories of when I was playing Mass Effect, and you had the option where you could sort of like pause the game and tell your squad mates what to do and like what weapons to use and stuff. And this seems like I know BioWare did Mass Effect as well, and this seems like a better version of what they had in Mass Effect, because this offers like another level of control with the whole eagle-eye view of the battlefield.
So let's move on to the next section. So Sony Online Entertainment, the creators and publishers of H1Z1, PlanetSide 2, EverQuest Next Landmark, EverQuest Next, DC Universe Online, Dragon's Prophet, and EverQuest 1 and 2, are launching an all-access subscription. Okay, now the perks of this, so this sub fee is going to cover every single game they create. Well, the ones I've just listed there, with EverQuest Next Landmark, EverQuest Next, and Dragon and H1Z1 coming soon on their website. Now, this unified sub fee is going to grant perks in all of their games. So you're going to get, for example, you're going to get XP boost in PlanetSide 2. You're going to get additional character slots in the EverQuest series, so EverQuest 1 and 2, that is. And you're also going to get preferred status with customer service. You're going to get 10% off all marketplace purchases and special member promotions. Okay, now I think this is a really interesting idea, because SOE are guys, developers and publishers who I think are pretty loved in the PC gaming community. They've got some really good free-to-play games. I think they're generally quite fair with their free-to-play games, and I think this sub-model is actually very interesting, and I think other publishers should take note of this model and see how they can apply it to their games. I'm going to ask the guys now, what would you say if Blizzard adopted this kind of model, and do you think they would? Raid?
I think this is an interesting venture for SOE, because I'm assuming it's not going to be something like £5 or £6 a month. It probably will be a substantial fee, but it does raise the issue about whether or not this could be what we're looking at is like maybe the next version of subscription gameplay, because we know that's been taking a massive hit. And I think if Blizzard attempted something like this, or said like, oh, you pay this fee per month and maybe you get like the preferential access, or you don't have to pay for the game, it would be interesting to see where this goes, because it does look like this is maybe the next step in sort of subscription-based gaming, or like subscription-based gaming. But I don't know, because usually when someone's the first person to do something, a lot of the time it doesn't work out 100%. So it'll be interesting.
Just to clarify, it's actually $14 a month, which is the same as the WoW subscription, or $8.99 a month. It's exactly the same as the WoW subscription. Aaron, do you have anything to say on this?
Oh, I think Aaron's gone for a second.
Okay.
For me, I think it's definitely a good idea. It's something that hasn't really been done before, and it could be the future, I guess, because instead of just it might attract people away from stuff like World of Warcraft and to SOE titles. I think it's something it's definitely a really bold move, I really want to see how it turns out, but right now, until I see the results, I don't really know.
Okay, so you think it's sort of
It's a risky move.
In what ways do you think it's risky?
I don't think like the amount. Wait, so what the games are offering is like EverQuest 2, DC Universe, that stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think you're still paying a subscription fee. So most people that don't want to pay for a subscription fee for WoW and stuff, it's not because. All right, so the way I see it is, if I have a subscription to WoW, I'll be paying $15 a month, and I'll be playing a lot of it. I'll be playing, every hour I can. Let's say I have one weekend to play it, I'll play as much as I can. But the problem that deters most people from doing that is that it costs a lot of money. You're paying $15 a month, and you're paying a lot of money over time. However, with this, people might see it as, oh yeah, you're paying $15 a month, but you're getting loads of games. However, I don't really think it's just about having more games that makes it better. It's just you haven't got the time to play all these games. You're still going to be playing maybe one or two of them at a time. You're still essentially doing what WoW is doing, except every few months or so you get to switch your game. So it's definitely better than the WoW model because you get to change your game up, the game you're playing up every few months. But it's not like.
Sorry, Adnan? Hello?
Or for nothing.
Sorry, Adnan. I think you're cutting out.
Money for WoW, as you for WoW.
Adnan, I think you just cut out there.
Oh.
Repeat that last bit.
What was I saying? I don't think it's like a revolutionary step that's like completely. They're giving games away for dirt cheap. I still think that you're still in total spending the exact same you would for World of Warcraft, and that would still deter some people that aren't so fond of subscriptions.
Okay, so at this point in the show, we've unfortunately had to let go of Aaron, who's had to rush off to do some coursework. But instead, I have two magic guests who are going to appear now.
Hello.
And they are Jake and Josh.
Hello.
Say hello. Yeah, you'll remember Jake and Josh. They've been on the podcast before. So
what?
yeah.
Are you serious?
I know, right? What do you guys think about this all-access subscription fee? Do you think this is good? Do you reckon Blizzard could apply this? What other companies do you reckon could take on this model?
It's interesting. It's not been done before, as people have already said in here, but I want to see if it works to start with, and I want to know how they're making their money back, because some of these games they won't be making their money back from this subscription, will they?
What, like EverQuest 1 and 2?
Yeah. For example, they won't be making their money back on those games, and I want to see how they deal with their loss in profits, because they're not making a huge amount of the consoles themselves.
What do you mean? What do you mean the consoles? Do you mean the
Sony? I'm talking as a company as a whole
okay.
here now.
Yeah.
They're not going to be making as much money off the consoles themselves, just on the consoles. Well, I think they're making a profit this time, aren't they? They are making
yes, I believe they are. Yeah. So are you saying you could see this being advantageous for a PS4 user, for example?
Well, yeah, I can see it working on PC, for example, because PC gamers can just. PC gamers are all different. It's got a lot larger spectrum of players and gamers, which should all choose different things, and the PC market can sustain it if it's done by a certain company, like with a lot of games. I don't think you'd have to be companies with like MMOs and things like that. It couldn't be companies with like FPSs and things, because that wouldn't work at all.
Okay. I think probably the thing to highlight is that actually a lot of these games aren't available on consoles. So whereas this is available for PS4s, obviously when PlanetSide 2 releases there, I don't think it's going to be as good a deal for PS4 users as it is going to be for PC users, because PC users have like 7 pretty good games, I'd say, or there will be potentially 7 pretty good games when the 3 release, Dragon's Prophet, Landmark, and H1Z1 release. Jake,
is H1Z1 coming out on PC, by the way, or is that not?
Yes, it is. PC and PS4.
PC and PS4. Yep. Thanks.
Jake,
I need to clear that up.
Got anything to say on this topic? Any companies you'd like to see employ this?
I'm still not entirely sure what it actually is. So could you explain it?
So basically, Sony Online Entertainment, all of their games are free to play most of their games are free to play. So you've got like PlanetSide 2, you played that, DC Universe Online, they're all free to play. But now this is kind of this all-access subscription model that gives you perks and bonuses that essentially kind of cut out that sort of the free-to-play trapping. So if you play PlanetSide 2, you'll know that it takes for friggin' ever to rank up in that game or get cert points without actually buying them through the game. So this aims to make it slightly more like a game you've already bought beforehand, and it works across multiple games, multiple titles. Do you think that's a good value for money, and what other companies would you like to see employ this?
So it gives you just bonuses in the game, so you can still play free to play.
Yeah, you can still play free to play.
So I don't really know if that's entirely a good thing, because for me specifically, if I play a game, I literally just play that game most of the time, especially if it's like an MMO or something, as is clear by my in fact countless hours on Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
But so paying for multiple games for a period of time, and then I would only play one, so that would not be useful for me. So personally, I don't think other people could do it because I wouldn't benefit from it, which is kind of selfish. But
okay.
But I think for people who like to switch games around a lot and get easily bored if they play the same game too much, then I think that'd be a good idea for them, probably.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I would totally agree with you. I think it's for more the diverse PC gamer who really loves a lot of SOE games like PlanetSide 2, like Landmark, like H1Z1. And actually, when Landmark and H1Z1 come out, I can see this as being a really viable option for something I want to look into. Because I'm liking the look of H1Z1. It means I don't have to pay for a zombie survival game, and there's crafting and there's building, which sounds pretty cool. And Landmark, of course, that everyone's excited for that. I mean, I know me and Jake, you hyped for Landmark?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's going to be quite a big release this year. So I can see when those games coming out, this being quite a viable option. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our next topic. This is the Unreal Engine 4 being released of SteamOS and Linux. Now, what I kind of want to talk about here isn't really Unreal 4, but it's the increased diversity of operating systems we're going to see as a result of the creation of Linux, and whether we here think that's a good idea. We here think that's a good idea, or whether we think that's a bad idea. Maybe that could create more bugs, less focus on Windows. What we're thinking, whether we're going to pick up SteamOS, whether we're going to pick up Linux or Mac. I was going to pick up Mac, but so yeah. General question. Let's start off with Raid, shall we? Raid, do you think a greater diversity of operating systems is going to be a good thing for the PC gaming industry, or do you think it's going to be a negative thing? Are you going to pick up SteamOS when it's officially released? Or you could just not answer. That'd be great. Don't worry.
I'll go if you want.
Okay, Joshua. Do you think that a greater diversity of operating systems is going to be better for the PC gaming industry, or do you think it's going to be a bad thing?
I think it probably will.
Okay, so you think a greater diversity...
Because, thinking about it, at the moment, Unreal Engine is powering... I think it's powering Thief, Unreal Engine 4, because I know the Unreal Engine definitely powers Thief in one way or another.
Yeah, Unreal Engine 3 powers Thief, yeah.
Sorry, but... Yeah. But coming to Linux is... Well, let's just say Linux is better than going to a console. I'm going to put it as that.
Okay.
Okay, there may be an Unreal Engine for console, but yeah, but it's just, I think having a broader spectrum is going to get more players into the market, which is going to, in the future, be a good thing for PC, because at some point, phone and tablet are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, I disagree with that idea. I think there's one argument. Obviously, it's not going to be solved by us right here. But one line of argument is, that if we have it across different OSs and Linux and whatnot and other OSs, then sure, it's more accessible to more people. Do we really want that? Do we want it to be split across different OSs, or do we want to have just one OS that everybody's on board and everybody's? It makes life easier for developers and me, because I don't have to worry about, is that new game coming out on Linux today or this tomorrow or whatnot. Surely it's better to have one unified OS that everybody's on, where everything's made for. I mean, there aren't that many people that have Linux, and the people that, I'm probably going to be corrected, but the people that do have Linux probably are competent enough with computers to have a Microsoft one as well, because they see that.
I'm thinking of in the future maybe getting SteamOS, like partitioning, maybe getting another hard drive and partitioning it so I have both Microsoft Windows and SteamOS, because I would like to see what SteamOS is all about. I know it's basically big picture mode and all, but I would like to see if it works. And I like to get a Steam controller as well. That's what I'd like to pick up. Just see how it feels. See if it works with the games I normally play. For example, Dota and things like that. Civ, that lot. Portal, maybe. And I want to see if it works. Because if it doesn't work, I would say, yeah, stick with Microsoft or whatever you've got. Mac and Microsoft.
No, never stick with Mac.
Don't stick with Mac. Just if you've got a Mac, just to stop watching.
Please just unplug the headphones.
Partition your hard drive and get Microsoft Windows.
Can you do that on the Mac?
Yes, you can.
Oh. Well,
Better yet, you could throw your Mac out the window and get a PC.
Yeah. Well, you give it to me.
True.
We at InDev accept Macs if you're going to send them in the post.
Well, yeah, because we're gonna just we'll just like convert them into like servers or something.
Or we'll just break them and film it, and it'll be funny.
Yeah.
No, we'll turn them into drinks machines.
Oh,
Or we sell it
Especially
on
that's a
eBay.
good idea.
We'll turn the new Mac Pro into a drinks machine.
Or a bin.
Or a bin.
Doesn't like one of the latest
We could put it in a
Apple
bin.
devices looks like a bin. What is it?
Yeah, the Mac Pro.
The Apple bin. I don't know.
Might as well be.
iBin.
iBin. Yeah. Okay. Slightly
Now they
tangented
look
from
Can
Unreal 4.
you make sure you put a picture of the Mac Pro in the background while we're doing
We're
Thanks, Ray. I'm going to have to Google a
patenting-
picture of Mac Pro now.
We're
Brilliant.
patenting
Yeah.
the iBin.
The iBin. Yeah. If
Oh, it
Apple
looks
ever
like
does.
a bin.
Well, no. It's like it's a bin, but it's got an eye on the front, and it costs like £1,000. So yeah, you better
I
watch
think it's
out.
actually £3,000.
What, the Mac Pro? Really?
But the
Oh,
one
no,
that
Yeah, I
the
think
iPad.
it does.
on slrhut.co.uk, Apple Mac Pro MD878 desktop computer, £3,000. And let's see what it has inside it, because
We at InDev
product
love
features.
looking at inside things.
Guys, has a built-in device speaker.
Oh,
Well,
my
it better
goodness.
do. It doesn't actually say what it has.
I
in it.
swear,
Then-
Macs. I looked at a Mac once in one of the silly old Apple
Apple
stores,
Store.
and there was the only i7 I've ever seen to have 2 cores. To have only 2 cores.
It can't do.
I just sort of laughed at that. You know, that's typically Apple, isn't it? That they have a processor made for them that only had 2 cores as opposed to 4.
Guys, I'm on the Apple website. I've just got the specs up for the.
Oh no!
iMac,
Better yet,
Mac
no!
Pro.
Please allow me. For $4,000, okay. Of course, first of all, let's just break it down. The Apple website, it doesn't actually show you the specs straight away on the spec page. It first
Yeah, you
shows
have
you
to go
going to
to
BS
text-
stuff
yeah,
like,
yeah.
whoa, it's 9.9 inches. I don't care. It's £11.
9.9 inches.
9.9.
9.9. That's tiny.
Yeah,
It is
and
tiny.
it's £11 of weight. I'm sorry. How often do you pick up your PC?
Well,
Okay, for
Why not like
$4,000,
once?
top of the range, it has a 3.5 gigahertz processor, which is 6 cores.
6 core.
3.5 gigs isn't that much. 16 gigs of RAM. Let's just dwell on that for DDR3, mind you. Okay, let's just deal with that for a second. 16. Okay, 16. I can
Fair
get
enough.
more than that for like £10. I'm sorry. And
No,
it's
you can
DDR3.
upgrade the RAM in it, by the way.
It has dual AMD Fire Pro D500 processors, which is 1,526 stream processors. It's nothing. The graphics aren't anything special. It's just nothing about this is that special, and they're charging $4,000.
it's basically you play for the Mac operating
If I had
system.
£1,500, I could buy a PC superior.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Back to what we were saying.
Yeah, so yeah, Unreal Engine 4. Now that we've completely taken apart Apple and its business practices and also its products, we'll now return to our topic at hand. So as you can see, we don't like Macs. So we
I
don't
bought
want.
one yesterday.
Can I continue what I was saying?
You may, yes. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was talking about the Unreal Engine 4
Alright, go on.
and what the Unreal Engine 3 I think powers at the moment, like Thief and all.
Yeah, Thief.
I used to play Unreal Tournament
Alright.
a long time ago. That was a very long time ago. But anyway, off subject. I think it's good it's coming to multiple OSs because the more PC players, well, any OS, the better.
Mhm.
Because the more people you have, the more fun you're going to have. No, I'm not going to say that. Sorry, that's...
Well, you said
sounded-
it already.
That sounded
Discussion.
oddly sexual.
Only
didn't it? The
not-
more people you
only-
have, the more fun it is.
Well, that's a true
Only
rule.
if it's not
We can
much-
agree that right here.
Okay,
Only if it's not
okay,
much-
then. Okay.
Anyway, Disney.
Disney.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Disney.
Stop referencing Disney. We
Disney.
aren't sponsored by Disney. Okay. For any-
www.disney.co.uk. What have you said there?
Shameless plug.
we aren't sponsored by Disney. We're
No,
never
we're
going to get
sponsored
sponsored
We
by
got
Disney.
Audible. We got Audible, guys. Guys, we're sponsored by Audible.
Audible nicked like £17 out of my credit card for no reason. So we're not
Okay,
sponsored
now we're not
by
going to
Audible.
get sponsored by Audible.
We're not.
Guys, our new advertiser is Apple,
Apple.
and they just told us that they're going to fire us all for just dissing their product.
We're going to be bought off by Apple, and we're going to be bought off by Valve, so we can advertise SteamOS.
And Facebook.
Yeah, basically.
Facebook.
Facebook,
and
yeah,
Screw Microsoft Windows, buy SteamOS.
exactly.
Ding.
Okay,
That's
so Jake, being a complete Microsoft fanboy, what do you
Oh,
think
thanks.
about having multiple
I don't
operating
complete
systems?
Microsoft. I just like Xbox.
You got an Xbox One,
Yeah,
an
you got an
Xbox
Xbox
360, and a.
There's actually 2 Xbones in Jake's house.
Shut up. Don't tell them that. I'll get first.
The
You'll
internet
get-
must not know how many Xbones Jake has, guys.
You've got 2. Now
Very
who's going to get murdered?
Get crucified. in the
Live.
comments.
Fuck you.
Jake, they're
Okay.
gonna come from the internet and kill you.
What are your thoughts on having multiple operating systems in the PC gaming space?
To be honest, I don't give a shit.
Okay.
To be
Fair
frank,
enough.
I don't care.
Okay. Well, I suppose that's probably pretty valid.
So okay, wait. Jake, let's influence a bit more. Jake, how do you feel if all games were now programmed from SteamOS Macs only?
That would annoy me, yeah.
So you do care? Come on. What if every game was now on Mac and you had to buy a Mac?
But there are hardly any games that are on Mac.
Excuse
not
me, they have
every-
Angry
hang on,
Birds.
Oh, sorry. But it's not like
if you
every
actually,
game is going to suddenly become a Mac-only game. It's not
Jake,
gonna
they have Freddy Fish, Pajama Sam.
Oh,
Come on.
I'll
I
tell you what,
just
I think
opened up.
Borderlands 2 recently released on their
I don't
The
care
App
if
Store.
one game was like released
Bioshock
randomly on their App
Infinite,
Store.
Batman Arkham
I don't
City,
have a Mac.
Don't
so I don't
Starve,
care.
Gary's Mod, Surgeon Sim.
As long as they're still on Windows, I'm fine.
I think operating system diversity is only a good thing for the PC gaming space, because
I
I
don't think
think
it's a bad thing.
if we get a monopoly of Windows, as
that
we
could
have
be a
seen in
problem.
the past few years, it's a problem. And this can be seen through Windows 8. I think Microsoft didn't pay enough attention to PCs in creating Windows 8. Now that we have operating systems like SteamOS, gamers are going to say, I've had enough Windows 8, I didn't like it, I'm going to go to SteamOS. And if Microsoft see they're starting to lose customers like that, that's going to drive up competition, that's going to drive up innovation, they're going to come out with a really cool Windows 9, which I pray to God they do.
They have to.
And I think, ultimately, if we have more Macs PC gaming, even if I hate Macs with a passion, if we have more Macs, if we have more Linux PCs, if we have more SteamOS PCs on the market gaming, not using Windows, that only makes Microsoft more worried that they need to keep up this type, innovating as they did with Windows 7 but didn't with Windows 8. And I think with Windows 9 we should be seeing something like what they promised with the Xbox One, which was not always online. I'm not advocating that. I don't want that. I want something that's easily connected to online, so that I know we can already do this with Word 2013, but Word 2013 is just a little bit of a mess at the moment.
I like Word 2013.
It's got icons,
Just saying.
icons everywhere, and the font's horrible. I hate it. But what we need is like shared documents on the internet, so documents that I can edit with my friends at the same time. Google Docs. I know Microsoft have been taking a lot of inspiration from Google Docs in creating Windows 2013. They need to take that to the next step with Windows 9. Windows 9 needs to be integrated, connected. I should be able to access my hard drive from anywhere in the world. I just want Windows 9 to be a really good operating system, and I think SteamOS and Linux are almost the fast track there. And with Unreal Engine 4 going to be such a big engine for the next gen, I think this can only be a good thing. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Windows 9 is, and I pray Microsoft will do something cool. But yeah, great diversity operating system's great, as long as DICE doesn't start developing for them and creates even more bugs. We should be alright. Okay.
Alright.
So now
Okay.
Adnan has a special section that he's wanted to do for the entire show. I'm going to pass over to him now. Adnan.
Okay. So, guys, PC games revenue surpasses console games. This news came out 5-6 days ago. I'm not sure exactly, but so now that PC games revenue has surpassed console games, it's now safe to say that gaming is now a kind of majority PC. I think it used to be majority PC, then it took a hit, and then consoles got real big. Consoles took up like 80% for a while, and then it's now got to the point where revenue for PC games surpasses console games, meaning that now the biggest market for game developers is just PC right now. So that's it. Yeah. What do you guys think about this? What do you think the difference is going to be in the gaming community now that PCs are the norm and consoles are not so much as big as they used to be?
Last year's news.
Alright.
Okay, just to interject here, I just think it's worth saying that actually this change was brought about by MOBAs and Dota 2.
Yes, should have mentioned that. So the DFC says that MOBAs are the ones that are contributing quite I think the most, and also Europe has been a big driver of bringing PC revenues up. Yeah. So but so far mostly people are saying it's a lot from MOBA coming out recently, MOBAs like Dota, and I think even Hearthstone recently got into the top 20 revenue making PC games, and that's only been here for not that long. So yeah, what do you guys think about this news in general?
Good, double thumbs up, finally. And
probably about covers my sentiments as well.
Jake, what do you think? Being an Xbox
I can hear PC Gaming Master Race being whispered.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. I play both console and PC.
PC Master Race.
PC Master Race.
It's no point in me saying anything.
No, it's not. You're gonna be gunned down.
Well, okay, let me say something then, because I, like Jake, have played next gen, current gen consoles now, and I play PC, and I can happily say that right now, I think as long as it stays close to 50-50, I wouldn't mind it being 55-45. Like the amount of revenue and the amount of care that companies have to developing, I think it's fine, because I don't like what it used to be. What it used to be was, I don't know, 30% of developers were really concerned about Xbox, 30% about PC, 30% about PS3, and 10% about mobile or whatever the hell next.
Wow, yeah,
and it was split three ways mostly. It was split between PS3, Xbox, and PC. PC was seen as like some rejected thing. But not like rejected, but it wasn't as important as it was back then. Like consoles in total were double what PC was back then. But now it's both PS4 and Xbox One. No one really has that big console wars anymore. I haven't heard a console war I haven't seen a console war in quite a while. They're kind of one now. They've merged into the console faction at this point, and now they're about 49% or whatnot. And now it's now consoles against PC, not PS3 against Xbox. And I like that. I think it will drive costs down. The people, Sony and Microsoft will realize they can't keep charging £55 a game. I'm not sure how much there is in dollars. I think it's like 65 or something, or 67. But they can't charge that much for a game when their biggest competition, not Xbox One anymore, or the PS4 if you're a Microsoft guy, that's not the biggest competition anymore. It's now the PC market. When the PC market like Steam is charging much, much less. Jake?
You said PS4 if you're a Microsoft guy.
Yeah, I'm saying, that used to be the competition. But when before this news, if you're a Microsoft guy, the PS4 was the competition.
Hate on it. Okay, sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, it's now they've kind of merged into one big faction, and I think it'll drive sales down. It'll be better for consoles as a whole. Anyone else?
Can I just say something quickly? I'd like to say some of the console exclusives I have played on a PS4 at a convention a few weeks ago. I played Infamous Second Son, but okay, they're great now, but I don't see what they're going to be like in 5-10 years' time when they're still around.
So you're saying that console exclusives can't really compete with the PC exclusives like Dota and LoL? Is that what you're saying?
That's basically what I'm saying.
Doesn't have the staying power.
And then it doesn't,
because we got mods on PC.
Yeah, and then the problem with
moderators.
I think the problem is that that gap between console and PC is going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger towards PC, because PC is at the same level as consoles now, imagine what it's going to be like in 5 years.
Well, I think
the current gen consoles can't go in 4K. They can't game in 4K at all.
They can't go into 1080p, so it's going
Oh,
to.
dude, we're next gen. Upscale.
Exactly.
Upscale.
Sam, you want to talk about how the next gen consoles aren't next gen and how the PC becoming more prominent could change this?
Well, we've been touching on it just in the conversation. We've just sort of briefly gone over it. Is the fact that the theoretical next gen consoles, they might be the next generation of consoles, but PC gaming's already overtaken it. It was the same trend when the previous gen consoles came out. Oh well, I know. If we say next gen is current gen, we can all make it less confusing. When the previous gen consoles came out, they were briefly ahead of PC, and then PC overtook it and flew away. But until they got to the point where Xbox games were ridiculously upscaled and just awful. And it's going to happen again. It's going to happen very quickly because you can't until we get maybe the Steam Box or the Piston kind of idea going in, which has developed because of PC gaming, the PC which Razer are going to be releasing, where it's all modular. Until we get that in consoles as well,
or something
like that, yeah. Until we get to the point where you can upgrade your console gaming's never going to be able to be as good as PC gaming ever. Just because it won't achieve that's why a lot of people on PC say the graphics are better on PC, because they always will be, because a console can't. Sure, briefly it will be amazing, but it won't stay amazing, will it?
I think it's like it might be kind of unrelated, but like with like last gen, let's call it, when it took PC a considerable amount of time. If it was a 7-year cycle, I think consoles were ahead of it for at least 5. PC when the new consoles were being announced and stuff, and when people actually started.
Think consoles were ahead of it for at least 5 years?
That's what I think I'd say. I think
I disagree with that.
Consoles were ahead of PC for about a month.
I think the thing with this generation, okay, the thing with last gen, what they did was the consoles they brought out were actually reasonably powerful for what was available at the time, okay, and that was good, okay. We got the mistake they made with the consoles last time was having like an 8-year life cycle. Okay, we can't have that again. There is literally the gaming industry. If we want to innovate at all, 8 years, no, we cannot have that. We need to have a bare minimum half of that, possibly even less. I would love Microsoft and Sony to come out in 3 years' time and say, right, we've got a new console. I know that's unrealistic, but that's what they should be doing now. Okay.
So
because
the current console, they make a loss on their consoles.
Yeah, these consoles,
which makes it impossible.
They didn't sell them at a loss. Why not? I don't understand.
I don't understand.
The Wii U. Even the Wii U was sold at a loss, okay? And the Wii U wasn't a roaring commercial success, but Nintendo had the sense to think, you know what? Let's sell this for a loss, we'll make it back on the software. Why didn't Microsoft and Sony do this, okay? The current consoles, the current generation of consoles, which makes me all fabby, fancy and new, can't achieve 1080p with their launch titles. Hello, Battlefield 4 running 1080p, 1080p high settings, 60 FPS plus on a decent PC now, and it can only go to 720p and 900p on an Xbox One and the PS4. Ridiculous. That is
actually no. PS4 it can go up to 1080p.
No, it cannot. 900. That is nonsensical. I do not understand Microsoft and Sony's logic. They are stifling innovation. The current gen consoles are equivalent to a mid-range PC in 2012. 2 years ago, mid-range PC. Currently, that's a kind of low-end PC.
So
if we have them for 8 years, shut up, I'm ranting. If we have them for 8 years, bye-bye innovation, goodbye games like Battlefield 4, which failed, but tried to have amazing graphics and good netcode. We know which one it failed in there. Goodbye innovation, because it's not going to happen. It's simply there is no way we can move forward as an industry, and there's no way PC gaming can move forward, and no way console gaming can move forward if Microsoft and Sony do not have the balls to sell their consoles at a loss next time. And shorten the life cycle.
So my point was, how long do you think last gen consoles were in front of PCs? No, give me a quick answer. Give me a number of years.
How long they were ahead?
Yeah.
They were ahead for
Zero.
a couple months. I've seen their figures.
What, the PS3?
Yeah.
I don't.
No, we're not talking about medium PCs like the PCs which everyone had, but because of how quickly they developed the PC stuff, the highest end PCs overtook the consoles in about a month.
What do you mean by overtook? Like, what do you mean by overtook?
As in, they had better specs.
Yeah, okay, sure, they had better specs. We're talking about which one was more popular.
Oh,
no,
well, if you're
no,
talking about which
we're
one's
talking-
more
Yeah,
popular,
exactly.
then-
So you had a massive
our
rant
point-
about something else. I was saying that my initial point was that the last gen consoles were more popular. They were really everybody's choice, and for at least like 6 of the 8 years or 7 years. And then in the last year, people started thinking the PC has gotten way ahead of it. You know, I got drawn to the PC gaming scene because of how long it took for the PS4 to come out. And the problem is, that's fine for last gen. They did well. They did a good job. They could do better, but they did a pretty good job. But the problem with the current gen is PS4, it's released, and it's been less than 6 months, okay? Or whatever. Or something. And I'm drawn back to PC. I was on it for a few months, but I'm back to PC. So you're telling me something that took me 6 years to realize on the last gen, took me 6 months on this thing? That clearly isn't a good sign if most people are jumping straight back onto PC after playing that. And if they don't get the initial sales in the first year, but they have got lots of sales, but if they don't get the amount of popularity in the first few years, it's going to be hard to innovate and make it better.
Literally, the only reason I own a console nowadays is for the exclusives.
Yeah, and it never used to be that way. It used to be, I prefer playing on console. I just think it's better. I think, although at the time, like when the PS3 initially launched, the graphics are so amazing. It's affordable. It's got a good controller. I don't like keyboard and mouse and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like initially the draw of a console was it's relatively high end for quite cheap. But
Everyone
now
has
Now I'm thinking, well, PCs have got cheap as well. So why? I mean, I would be willing to pay the extra money for the extra stuff you get on a PC. I don't see why you would get a console anymore.
Like right now, if I want
Also,
go
Sam,
on,
you
mate.
brought up the point of saying that like how before consoles were like, oh, it's relatively high end for pretty cheap. Nowadays, if you look at the price of console, and I know a lot of us here are pretty PC enthusiasts, for the same price of a console, we look at it and no longer think high end for a cheap price. We're now thinking low end for a ridiculously high price.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I think the whole point has become now a lot of people now know how to and have the ability, and with like YouTube and stuff, building a PC is so much easier than it used to be. Everyone can do it now. So
Yeah, and,
I think.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Finish off. Yeah, my point is just wait, Jake. How much does the Xbox the X-Bone cost on release?
300. Oh right, okay.
On release.
Can't remember.
Go on, just throw me a number. Throw me a number.
I don't know a number.
400 and what?
£430.
Okay, so let's say a good PC, like nothing amazing,
My
nothing
PC
like
costs around that much.
ultra. I think a good PC would cost you £600. Okay, that'll get you a good processor, a decent graphics card that can play some good games and like high quality stuff.
Can I just say something quickly?
Yeah, go
My
ahead.
PC cost around that price there, £420. Not going to tell you the exact amount, but I can play Battlefield 4 medium to high settings at 900p, and I get good frame rate. I get 40, 50 FPS all
But
the
I
time.
think you could get at least 60 on 1080 if you had a £600 PC as a general
Yeah.
rule.
Yes,
And
yes, yes,
Six,
yes,
my
yes.
idea is-
600's enough for the components. I mean, of course
Yeah.
you've got to buy the screen and operating
Yeah,
system. and
but
so on,
everybody has a spare screen somewhere. It's a monitor, and monitors are always
Also,
cheaper.
if you're going to take that into account, you're going to have to take into account the fact of having a HD TV to go with your
Yeah,
Xbone.
exactly. So let's exclude that. Let's just compare
Yeah.
hardware to hardware.
No, but
from,
you
like,
don't have to buy an
PC to
OS and stuff
actual
like that.
let's just compare the tower to the actual console itself. It
Yeah.
costs you the exact same to buy an Xbox One and 5 games that it would cost you to get a PC and buy like 2 games for it. And the PC is better in like almost every single way. I'd rather have a better system, and 2 games on release than have a worse system and 5 games. And the thing is, the games cost so much that you think you're saving money, but you're really not.
Exactly.
£55
Also-
compared to the average £25 I spend on my PC games.
Unless you're
Also,
Activision, in which case you price your games ridiculously
Yeah.
even on PC.
And don't release good PC ports either.
Also,
Yeah.
with the whole thing with like
Black
Steam
Fee.
sales and Humble bundles, I'm pretty sure I think there's, if you look, I think Jack on me, I think especially Jack has racked up hundreds in terms of what you'd actually pay for games. But if you look at what you've paid, it's probably less than £100.
I think honestly, I've probably paid £1,000 worth if you actually look at the release value of the games I
price,
have. Yeah, but I probably spent 100.
There's a website where you can work out how much money your Steam library is worth, and mine's worth like £2,000 or something.
And how much did you actually spend?
And I would say I spent, in all fairness, I spent about maybe max 300 max, but that's including every single game I've ever bought.
Problem is, a year ago, when I went to buy 2 years ago, when I went to buy Black Ops 2 in game or something, that game is the UK retailer, blah blah blah. I saw them trying. Okay, so back then the average game cost £40. The big titles were starting to get more expensive, and they were selling them for 45. So Black Ops 2 was $44.99 or whatever. Then I saw just next to it was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, a flop game that no one likes, selling for the exact same price. That doesn't happen on PC. If a game is like 6 months old, you can expect it to have like a 30%, discount. Unless you're Activision. And that wasn't just COD. That was every game there. Just because a game had aged 7 months or 8 months, or a sequel had come out, they didn't try. They tried squeezing every last penny out of every single game they sold. And I just think it's not going to work. It's unsustainable considering how people are learning that PCs are more accessible and they're better in in every single way. There's nothing a console does better.
You go that far to say every single way?
Huh?
Yeah, I would definitely.
No, there's one thing PCs can do.
Apart from
consoles can suck better. I think that's fair to say.
To be fair,
they have better consoles have better marketing campaigns.
Because they're one unified.
That's because they have a marketing campaign.
Exactly.
Who are you going to get to market PC?
Yeah, the PCs there's more than one producer. It's not like there's It's not like there's a PC which everyone buys, is there?
And it allows
also in terms of that, just talking about marketing, my PC, anyone's PC, if you build it yourself, probably doesn't look like anyone else's. But your Xbox looks like Jim's Xbox, and Jim's Xbox looks like Peter's Xbox.
Well, so, don't bring Peter into this, Ray. Come on.
Whoa.
Anyway, but like I was saying,
I'm wondering how Jake feels right now.
Yeah, seeing as we're sitting here slagging off the.
Hey, I have a PS4, so I think I should be pretty depressed, even though I spent all that money on it. But I'm not feeling too bad, because I think eventually the exclusives will make it worth it. Eventually, I will have bought not 7 exclusive games that are worth it, and therefore, penny per penny, it'll be worth it.
Unless you're Jake and you like Halo, I honestly can't see the point of buying a next-gen console.
Literally, as I was saying before, the only reason you would buy a next-gen console is for the exclusives. It's literally the only reason.
And I think that's what Microsoft and Sony have banked on, especially this generation. Jake, I'm going to get our closing remarks for you because we need to kind of wrap up sometime soon. It's getting quite late. Your closing remarks on this subject.
Well, I prefer... basically, I couldn't afford to buy a new computer, and I had just enough money to buy an Xbox One, which is better than my computer because my computer's a complete piece of shit. So I bought that instead.
Try being me, Jake.
Yeah, mine's almost just as bad as yours.
Jake,
so
mind you, we don't want to hear the reason why you resorted to out of desperation to buy an Xbox. Just saying, closing remarks on the topic.
Sorry,
we're not attacking you. Just saying, PC Master Race.
There's no point in me arguing with any of my points. You're just gonna deny me.
Yeah.
Try that. That's how I felt the first podcast we did.
Well, with the ESO. Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's because you were wrong.
Exactly. You
were completely.
Even I admit I was wrong with that one.
Halfway through it, you completely changed your mind.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jake. Okay, now we're going to move on to our section called the ESO update. This is our last section for tonight.
Yay!
Some big news dropped today. Big news. Craglorn, we've heard all about Craglorn, we've heard all about Trials and our new update. That's been beaten like a dead horse. We got some new information about what we're actually going to be getting in the next few months with ESO. Okay, so we're going to be getting a system that allows players to see each other even when they're in different phases, a justice system where you can steal and kill NPCs, and then deal with the consequences if you're caught, migration of the European megaserver to the European data center, armor dyeing and tinting, 2 new veteran dungeons, Crypt of Hearts and City of Ash. They're the level 20 bracket? No, level 30. They're the level 30 bracket, I think. They increased ability to pick up items in the world, so that's increased world interactivity. Thieves Guild and Dark Brotherhood story and questline, spellcrafting, horse racing, Dragon Star Arena, similar to Trials, but it's built for a group of 4. Improvements to fishing, woohoo. Crafting system improvements, improved looking for group system, thank God for that. Better NPC facial animations, guild functionality updates, guild store interface updates, customizable guild insignias, tabards, guild ranks and guild kiosks, guild stores which will be open to everyone. They're available to the highest bidding guild. So these would be like physical real world locations that guilds can buy, and then they can sell their wares from the guild store to to everyone pretty much who wanders past. Auto leveling dungeons that level to your group leader. Oh my goodness. And awards when you repeat dungeons, and an Imperial City PvP dungeon, which means we are getting the Imperial City in a future update. That's confirmed. Cool. Okay. Guys who plays ESO, so that's Jake,
Me,
Jake, Josh, and Adnan.
Okay.
Things that you love from that list.
armor dying.
Horse racing.
Horse racing. There we go.
Horse racing and armor dying are my
Considering
two
I have
favourite
like
ones
one
out
of the
there.
fastest horse possible in
Also,
the game.
XP, what was it? Rewards for repeating dungeons.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, let's say Jake is higher level than me, which he is right now, and let's say he's let's say he's 3 levels above me. Let's just say that. In reality, it's 20. Let's say I want to do a dungeon. Jake, can you help me out? No, then why should I do that dungeon? I've already done it. It's just a waste of 40 minutes. Why the hell should I do it? That used to be the case like a week ago, but actually even right now. But after update, then surely it would still be fun you still get an award for doing it. It's not completely worthless.
Guys, can I ask you quickly? I'm really looking forward to this armor tainting system and the horse
So
racing.
am I. Yeah.
The armor dying. What colour scheme are you going to go for?
Black and white.
Hot pink.
Hot pink. Expected. And Adnan,
Green.
green. I think I'm going to go for a bit of blue and purple. I think.
Like jazzing it up a bit.
Jazzing it up.
I have to say, I'm gonna have like pantsless raids where all I do is pink.
Where's the black and yellow to be the Bumblebee Paladin?
Paladin? Why do we want to get sponsored by Disney? They ruin everything they get hold of.
Because we
Like
had a Mickey Mouse reference one time.
Frozen.
The 2 things that I'm most excited for on this list are the field of view slider, which is pretty good. Did I say the field of view slider? I might have skipped over.
Oh,
it.
You said that like last episode as well.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm excited for. And spellcrafting, because spellcrafting was in Oblivion. I like spellcrafting, and I want it back in ESO. So yeah, well done, Zenimax. The thumb of InDev thumb of approval. Are you clapping or are you doing something else? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to these features. It's a great step in the right direction.
Red direction.
So to end this show on a high note, it's worth just noting that the Euro Truck Simulator multiplayer mod alpha has launched today, which is great news, and I'm sure everyone is really excited about here, aren't we, guys?
Yeah.
Yes. Could not be
I
more
hate
excited.
trucks.
Yeah, I love trucks.
I don't.
How
give a
can you
truck.
not like Euro Truck Simulator
Sniper,
2?
get out
Okay.
my lane, bro.
I don't give a truck.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I don't give a
Sniper,
truck
deal
either.
with it.
You better,
Oh,
because your YouTube
life.
sub boxes are about to be spammed with videos of like PewDiePie.
Yeah,
and
just like Goat Simulator. Oh
Yeah,
wait.
No, the Goat Simulator was good. Okay, moving away from that slightly controversial point. Remember to check out Webdevs.co for more information on the Elder Scrolls Online and other gaming news. We have a ton of articles up there detailing sports, politics, games, and films when it gets fixed. That was. No, I'm not going to put that bit at the end. Remember to check out Webdevs.co for more info on the Elder Scrolls Online and other gaming news. We have a ton of articles up there detailing sports, politics, games, and films, so make sure to check it out. Subscribe to the Webdevs YouTube channel if you've enjoyed this InDev podcast. Sorry it's been quite long. I'll have edited this a lot, so that's going to be fun. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and it's a goodbye from me. Thank you very much for watching.
And a goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
You.
And a
So
goodbye from me.
Adnan's getting jealous because he says I'm doing the outro, too much outro. So he's going to say this last line. Adnan, take it away.
We have been InDev and you guys have been you. Thank you for watching and goodbye. Yay.
Yay.
Best.
Hugo Chavez.